So, welcome everyone to episode 30
No!
of Mute. No, what is it?
29. No, it is 30.
Fucking hell. Right, do you want to start again?
Leave it in.
You fucking twat. You just told me. You just sent me to said episode 30. No, it's not. You fucking idiot.
No, that's what confused me.
Yeah, so anyway, so welcome everybody to episode 30 of Music is None of Our Business.
Welcome.
Ta-da. 30. That's another milestone, I suppose.
It does feel like a proper milestone, doesn't it? Yeah, 30. That's in what? 10 months? No, less than that. 9 months, isn't it? Didn't we start in
something like
June?
that, yeah. Today's subject is body parts. Songs with body parts in the title. So that's I had a few I had to discard, to be honest. I had Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here.
Oh dear.
And
no.
I had AC/DC, Highway to Hell. And I had the Smiths, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now.
Oh dear.
So I
David.
I know. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. That fucking Wish You Were Here, that just came as soon as you said it. I thought Wish You Were Here, and I thought no, don't be a twat. And I thought no, actually, that could be quite amusing. So that's this week's. How has your week been? I know we should be more. Let people know what exciting lives we lead.
Oh, I don't know about exciting. There's not much exciting. So, yes, had a slight technical glitch with a power management system on a USB hub that knocked all my peripherals out temporarily. So that's now
That's the bugger, getting your peripherals knocked out.
Yeah, without your peripherals, you're just a torso, aren't you?
Yeah, you're buggered.
You're just
you are, yes. Yeah.
Got a parking ticket.
Hey! Everyone's that. Well, apart from parking legally. I mean,
Yes. No, I just parked somewhere where I should have put my registration into a fucking computer thing and.
Yes, I've done that. Yeah. Didn't put your blue disabled badge out then.
No, although I can get one because of all the ferrying of my father-in-law I do about.
Yeah.
So I haven't.
Yeah,
haven't done it. Haven't done it yet, but.
If I have a parking disabled bay, I just get out of the car, make sure I walk with a pronounced limp to wherever I'm going, and I reckon that's going to be.
Well, there was a debate, wasn't there, about whether or not disabled badges should be only afforded those with physical disabilities as opposed to those with disabilities of more psychological nature. And there were people that saying they were equally disabilities, and others saying, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't park further away from your Sainsbury's door or whatever. I guess that ended up with just staying with physical disabilities. I don't know.
I think I can now. I've got an official diagnosis for ADHD. I could probably get one. I need a note from my doctor.
Could you get one?
Saying,
do you think?
This man is not well, or something. I don't know. I can't be asked, to be perfectly honest.
No.
I'll just do the old fucking walk with a limp thing. I think that'll do the trick. I went to see My Bloody Valentine and Churches.
Is it Churches or is it just an?
No, it's Churches. Yeah, it's just spelt with a V. Yeah. I think Churches is funny because I've got a very poor sense of humour. So I think
our listeners have worked that out already.
Yes, probably, yeah. And that was very good. Although I did have an instance of poor gig etiquette. Before me. So I was standing. I got quite near the front, and there was kind of a bit of a gap between me and the person in front, and this guy starts walking, and you know how people kind of shuffle sideways past you to get to where they want to go, so they'll try and shuffle past, through a small gap, and then to go. He stopped right in front of me, so his bum was actually touching my groin.
Oh dear!
And I thought, what the fuck? And I thought he was going to carry on and move, but he didn't. And then the band came on, so I tried to move back a bit, couldn't. And then he started doing this fucking stupid dance. He was quite pissed. He was short, and he had like stonewashed jeans on. So I automatically thought wanker. Because the jeans, not because he was short. I mean, I know some nice short people. And in the end, I just give him a bit of a shove, and he turned around and starts doing that, puts his palms out, going, "What's up with you, mate? What's up with you?" And I was like, oh, obviously I was polite and and very well mannered in my reply, and I said, "You're a fucking twat. Get out my fucking face," or something like that, And then he argued with me a bit, and I kind of said, "Look, you're a fucking idiot. There's no room for you, and yet you're kind of fucking lap dancing me." And then he tried to hug me and shake my hands, and I was like, "Just watch the fucking band, mate,"
Yeah.
And it got and I did a little reel on Instagram about the gig, and someone said. So I said, "Oh, I recognise you. I saw you have a bit of a to-do with that guy."
Oh, right.
And I said, "Yeah, he was just being a dick." And then his friend who was with apparently saw it as well, and she went, "Oh, well, he said he didn't do anything." I'm like, "Well, fucking Goebbels said he didn't do anything. It doesn't mean that he fucking didn't, did he?"
Oh dear.
So
what a drama.
So anyway, that was my gig etiquette story. Not the first time it's happened. I do think that. I know that it's a gig, and I know you're going to get, at certain gigs you're going to get bashed about, and people will get. But there is, you do need a bit of personal space, even if it's a few inches and not centimeters.
Yeah.
He's cock anyway.
That's one of the several reasons why I go to so few gigs these days, is because I can't stand crowds all pressing in.
Yeah, I don't really mind. Like I say, I accept that there's going to be, occasionally there will be some argy-bargy, but that's to be expected. But when it's that, that pointless and that thoughtless, it's just like, he just needed a little shove and, fuck off.
One thing, I had a bit of a drama actually I didn't mention, not last night but the night before. I nearly got arrested for burglary. It's if I was one of my neighbours, was a nice chap, but he was pissed out of his head. Midnight, came knocking at the door. Like, he said, "I just had a bit of problems. I can't get in and so on. I want you to come and help me kick my door in." And I said, "Well, you're not going to kick your door in, mate. They're steel and they're five bar locks." He said, "How do you know that? You know a bit too much, you." Anyway, and then the police turned up after a lot of trying to find his keys and everything. The police turned up and came along and said, "You two, we just had a report of attempted burglary on the house up there. Somebody kicking their door in. Was that you?" I said, "Well, what fucking me? I've just come out my house." And it did appear it was my neighbour who was trying to kick his way into the wrong house initially.
Brilliant. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, so that was an interesting evening. But there you go. Not all dull in Mansfield, I tell you.
No, not all dull indeed.
Anyway.
It's a fair cop, Gov.
Anyway, to business.
Yes, cool. Yes, to business. Body parts. Songs with a body part in the title.
Who's going first this time round?
I will go first.
Go
if
on
you
then,
want.
crack on.
So my first one is by Echo and the Bunnymen, and it's called. I'm giving you a little chance.
I was never a big
fan of
Echo and the Bunnymen.
So the song is "With a Hip."
Oh right, don't know it.
With a hip. Well, it's at the top of your leg, and
yes, I don't know the song, not the body part.
The song is from their second LP, Heaven Up Here, which is, I would say, would probably on a good day would squeak into my top 10 records of all time. Yes, I love Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. I really do. We've had this conversation before when we talked about Simple Minds, I think, and there was a clutch of bands in the early 80s who we all thought were going to rule the world.
Yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
There was, Simple Minds, U2, and Echo and the Bunnymen. And Echo and the Bunnymen are the ones who never quite made it, and they were probably the best of the three. And this one, I think, like I say, I think it's a masterpiece. For those who don't know, Echo and the Bunnymen were formed in Liverpool in 1978 with Ian McCulloch, Will Sargent and Les Patterson on singing, guitar and bass. And Echo was the drum machine. They were the Bunnymen. Echo originally was the drum machine they used for their first recordings. Mm-hmm. And then they were later joined by Pete DeFreitas became the drummer, and yeah, fantastic. The first LP was Crocodiles, which is a cracker, and they followed Heaven Up Here with Porcupine, which is another great album, and then that was followed by what was the fourth album? I've forgotten the fourth album now, but that was the one with Killing Moon on.
Okay.
And that was that. I mean, they were peerless at that time, but they never quite made it. I think they were a bit too. I don't know. They just didn't suit that American market. I don't.
No, they were very British, very fey, a little bit fey and limpish, really.
Fey and limpish. Really?
I don't know. They weren't a band with a lot of. From what I can remember, what I'd heard, it wasn't energetic music. It wasn't powerful music. It was quite fey.
I think that. I thought they were quite a powerful band. Really? Yeah. If you listen to, they did a live EP just before. I think it was between Crocodiles and Heaven Up Here. They did a live EP. They used to play loads of gigs. I think they used to use loads of camouflage netting on the set and wear like camouflage clothes. I think. And they arranged this secret gig somewhere and bust loads of people in, and they did a live EP with 4 songs, and that was cracking. I mean, they were it wasn't Godflesh. But it was powerful.
I'm sure live they would sound a bit more wholesome, fuller sound.
Yeah,
I think the records were a bit thin.
They were. No, I disagree.
We can disagree.
I think the records were a bit were quite powerful. And I it always disappointed me that they never quite made it. I think the thing was that I think U2 and Simple Minds were suited the American market because it was a bit it sounds a bit patronising, and apologies to the guys who do the greatest playlist ever because I love them, but it was they were a bit dumbed down and suited America, but whereas Echo and the Bunnymen I think were kind of a bit more not intellectual, but there was a bit more substance to them and to the lyrics, whereas Echo and the Bunnymen and Simple Minds could get away with big dumb choruses, and they were more on the stadium rock.
But hadn't both of those exceeded the success of Echo and the Bunnymen before they'd really broken the States? When you look at the chart,
I don't think.
If you look at the chart performance and so on, I would have thought retrospectively. I know I don't have the facts and figures in front of me.
No, I don't think so. I think both bands kind of got lucky in America, really. U2 kind of. I mean, obviously U2 had Live Aid as well. I think both bands played at Live Aid as well. Simple Minds did as well. So they were on the up then. But I don't know whether it's better management or what it was, but Echo and the Bunnymen never really made it. They're playing at the moment, and they've cancelled a few gigs because of Ian McCulloch's health, or Ian McCulloch's health.
What's that?
That's me doing bunny quotation marks. His health.
Is it something else? Is it drugs?
I think it's drink. I think he's drinking a bit. Allegedly.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I read in various places. Okay. I met Ian McCulloch actually. He stayed at the hotel I used to work at years ago. He's fucking huge. He's about 6 foot. He's about 6'4", and his hair is about another 4 inches.
Yeah.
He's got this massive mop he did have a massive mop of black hair. Nice guy. He's like, all right. Because he's scums. I don't know why. It's a pity that I had to explain that accent because I feel like I've demeaned myself by having to explain that I was doing a Scouse accent, or attempting one. I saw them live. They're one of those bands where I know I saw them live, but I'm fucked if I can remember where I saw them and when I saw them. I know I saw Ian McCulloch do a solo gig at Cambridge Corn Exchange just after Echo and Bunnymen split up for the first time.
Yeah, okay.
And he released an LP called Candleland, which was very good. in fact, included a duet with Elizabeth Fraser from Cocktail Twins. Right. And at the end of the gig, he did a cover of Ceremony by New Order, which I love, which is a great song.
This is a good song.
Yes. So With a Hip I'd thoroughly recommend, if you haven't listened to Echo the Bunnymen, start with Heaven Up Here. Fantastic album. I love it.
And expect some thin, lightweight pop music.
Get fucked. Wanker.
Okay.
Great band.
Okay. I'll give you something to criticise from me then.
Go on.
Okay,
then.
First one on my list, no particular order, as always, is a track called Blue Eyes, which is going to give
Blue Eyes. Baby's got blue eyes.
It's going to give you no clue because there are so many songs called Blue Eyes. This is by Tubeway Army. So I guess most people.
First LP?
No, it's a single. It's on one of the EPs.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Bombers, I think. Yeah, but I guess most people know Tubeway Army and Gary Numan for their stark synthesized music when they broke into the mass consciousness.
Down in the park where the Macmen meet, the machines and play kill by numbers.
Okay.
Come on, I was expecting at least a small round of applause for my Gary Numan Tubeway Army impression.
Not ideal. Our Friends Electric was a big one, obviously, and then Down on the Park as a lesser hit, but then...
I hate to ask, but Our Friends Electric...
What accent is that?
That's his... He had this kind of weird Essexy hybrid, didn't he? When he sang, I always thought it was a bit like, and he was a bit nasal.
It was a bit nasal, but it still didn't sound anything
Down
like you
in the park where the Macmen meet, the machines and play kill wine numbers.
Anyway, before all of that,
it's cold outside.
Before all of that,
and the paint's peeling off of my balls.
Someone's going to be peeling off of your fucking balls in a minute. Before all of that, and synthesizers and so on, Tubeway Army were more of a guitar-driven, almost punk band. And they were a punk band in so much as Gary Webb, who became Gary Numan, and who in Tubeway Army, the first incarnation, was known as Valerian for some reason. He intentionally wanted to be a part of the punk scene because, if nothing else, Mr. Numan, Mr. Webb, he has a very constant fixation on the commerciality of his music. And okay, all well and good. He wanted to jump into punk, so he started producing music which was a bit punky. Sadly for Mr. Numan, I guess, the records didn't sell. And it's just as well to some extent because, Mr. Webb was a big fan of Margaret Thatcher. So his sound, his sound might have been good, but his philosophy certainly some distance from that. But That's Too Bad and Bombers were the two singles, the two EPs.
Oh, a Bombers fired zero.
I don't know what that accent really is, because that isn't anything like what he sounds like.
Oh, fuck off. I'm doing a poll. Do I or do I not sound like Gary Numan?
Not a chance. Not a chance. So the first album, eponymously titled 1978, is a really good album. And those excellent singles are great, and where you'll find Blue Eyes. And, you know, despite the fact that they didn't have that ideology of punk, the sound they had was pretty genuine. It's aggressive, distorted guitars, and it was a great full sound. And Blue Eyes is a fucking brilliant track. But as clearly that wasn't selling, Numan looked for something else, and he threw his guitar away essentially and got himself a Moog and built this futuristic sound.
He found the Moog. He came across the Moog in the recording studio.
Yeah, he's playing with it.
I'm pretty sure. Did he not record that at Spacewood in Cambridge?
He did. He did. £36 an hour at the time, I can remember.
Bargain.
Well, actually, it wasn't a bargain in those days. It was quite expensive in those days. But anyway, yeah. So after that futuristic bit, Numan went all funky with a load of naff pop songs, and then he went all Nine Inch Nails.
Here in my car.
No, not that one.
Safest of all.
That kind of She's a Chameleon and all that kind of...
Music for
bloody hell. This is going to be a fucking long podcast if you're going to dance in
I know so many fucking 2 and Gary Newman songs. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was all a bit naff. I did go and see him do the whole of the first album, which was great. But then he did some of the later songs like Our Friends Electric and Cars and Down in the Park, and he did them all in that 9 Inch Nailsy front 242 way that he's kind of latched onto now, which is all a bit naff, and not really my cup of tea. But the live first album and the singles from that was very, very good indeed. So it's a great song. I did see him on TV at Glastonbury as well just recently, and he's taken to wearing those fake tattoo sleeves, I've noticed, which I've always wondered who wears those, and now I know.
Yeah, Gary Numan.
Curious.
Or as he's known now, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he's knocking on a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, he must be. But he'd get confused with Gary Oldman, wouldn't he, if he did? But, yeah, my friend Martin worked for Gary Numan for years. He was guitar tech for him, and he always used to say, you know, every time he came, he used to go, "Do you want to come and I'll put you on the guest list." I'm like, "No," because I don't know, there was something about older Gary Numan that I just was a bit like,
yeah,
you know, I liked that first LP, and I liked Replicas.
Yeah.
And the one after, which
Pleasure Principle,
I can't quite remember. That's the one, yes. That was a great one. And then after that, yeah, I'm same as you. I kind of was a bit like, We Are Glass. You know, I was
Telecon.
A bit like, yes, Telecon.
Last one,
yeah. I think I've got all of those LPs over, you know, in the rack somewhere. But yeah, I don't really listen to probably Replicas. I probably listen to Replicas because I do like Down the Park, and I do like Our Friends Electric, and there are some great songs. It is some cracking.
Replicas is a good album,
stuff,
and the first album, and the first
good.
records are good.
Yeah.
I think there was a gradual descent then. Pleasure Principle's pretty good. Telecon is okay. Everything after that is for the bin.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So there you go.
Brilliant. Okay, so my number two is Heart of Song by Joseph K.
Yeah.
Joseph K. Do you remember Joseph K?
I do, yeah.
Were you a fan?
No,
me and Neil are massive fans.
I know.
We absolutely loved that they did they only ever did one album. They recorded an album and then hated it, so ditched it. We re-recorded it and liked it, and that was called The Only Fun in Town, and that was where Heart of Song came from. They were a Scottish post-punk band. Lasted from 79 to 82 on the Postcard label out of Scotland, where Orange Juice started as well. Mm-hmm. And named after the protagonist of Franz Kafka novel The Trial, which because I was a fan of the band, I felt obliged to go and read, and went, what the fuck?
That's a great book.
It is a great book, but when you're like 14, it's a bit of a head fuck, really, because you're like, what? I don't quite get it, you know, and where's my James Herbert, you know. So this was the only album they released. They've since released the other LP, which is, I listened to it, I think, well, I can't see anything wrong with it, really. It's really good. But they are total cult bands, you know. They as I say, lasted about 3 years. Rarely played. I don't think they played many gigs at all. And were one of those bands where you kind of, if you knew them, you loved them, apart from you. You know, they were fantastic. I remember years ago, I very rarely met anybody who liked Joseph K or had even heard of Joseph K outside of me and Neil. In the early mid 80s or late 80s, actually, I went to a party, and as normal, I was going through the guys' records, and I found a copy of The Only Fun in Town. I was like, oh my god! And I remember picking it up and like looking in the bag and taking it out, even though I had a copy at home. And going and I called him. I said, this guy's name was Mick. And I said, Mick, my God, you've got this album. And I gushed on about. I said, I've never met anyone else who's got. I can't believe you like it. It's just fantastic. It's such a brilliant album. And I went through the songs. I said, that's a fucking banger. Me and my mate, and he was kind of, he looked at me and he went, Well, yeah, you can have it if you want. Someone gave it to me. I've never listened to it, and I was like, for fuck's sake. So I was like, oh bloody hell! So I still never found another fan of Joseph K. But they did get bigger because I remember when Franz Ferdinand burst onto the scene a few years ago, and I remember the first time I listened to him, I thought, he sounded just like Joseph K. And then they heard them interviewed, and they said, "Oh yeah, well we're big fans of Joseph K. They were our inspiration." It's like, oh my god, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like Franz Ferdinand either.
No, well, no, I liked the first album, and after that I was a bit like, yeah, whatever. But there's a book has been released all about Joseph K, the history of Joseph K, and I really need to read it because. Other than what I've just said, I have no fucking idea about them at all. I know they recorded other songs. I know everything's been collected onto various LPs because I've got most of them over there. I'm just obsessed with them, but I know very, very little about them.
Right.
Other than I think Paul Haig was in them, who went on to have some minor hits in the 90s, 80s, 90s. There was another guy called Malcolm Ross. I can't even remember the rest of the band. That's but that one LP, The Only Fun in Town, just absolute banger of an LP. Absolute banger.
Is Radio Drill Time on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it is. I can't remember the actual I can't remember the track list off the top of my head. They did It's Kind of Funny, and that was covered by Propaganda, weirdly. Okay. They did a cover of that on their album, so they probably made a few bob out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've not heard of any of them for ages. I'd love for them to get back together, do a reunion tour, but I don't think it will ever happen.
Sounds unlikely.
Yeah, I mean they've been re-released. Domino have re-released a lot of stuff. Some compilations, and they are like. Well, in my opinion, they're one of the big cult bands. They're one of the bands I love that no one's ever heard of. I really should do an Instagram reel about them.
But don't look at me.
I'd probably get like one view or something. But so that's a quick one. But I do love Joseph K.
Okay,
great band. So there you go.
Fair enough. I can't say I've listened to an awful lot. I think bits and pieces. I've got Radio Drill Time, and they're not. It's just not. Doesn't do anything for me much. So I can't really.
No, it's very of its time. I mean, kind of scratchy, jangly post-punk guitars.
Yeah.
Kind of propulsive rhythm section. Very almost monotone vocals. And again, they were of their time, they're kind of one of those, fated Scottish bands from the late 70s who probably like opened the door and influenced more bands than actually heard them when they were active.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Domino because there was a time I was buying quite a lot of records on Domino, but I can't think of the last record on Domino that I picked up.
They did a lot of reissues. Didn't they help re-release all the Crash stuff? Was that Domino?
Was it?
I'm sure they
re-released the classical collection.
Yeah, the classical collection. I think Domino helped out in that. I could be wrong. We do a break in a minute. I'll have a quick look and see.
I've got all the classical records up there. It'll put me on those.
Yeah. Have a look. I did have all the CDs, but I think I had a kind of a huge clear out a few years ago and sold them on eBay. Or I know. That was.
It's good because you can lay them all out in a big picture and it makes a big crash.
Yeah. I know. Oh, you love things like that, don't you?
I'm a bit of a sometimes a softie for the little things like that.
Yes, totally.
All right.
Yeah, so anyway, that's my number 2, Joseph K. I did check. It was one little Indian. One little independent that I was getting confused because of my age and my general poor mental decay. Yeah,
I didn't think Domino was not. It didn't really seem to fit because Domino was like Movie Tone and Smog and Ariel M and Third Eye Foundation, Flying Saucer Attack, bands like that, which was not really crass type stuff.
Yeah, I think I'd Yeah, I don't know. I
Who
don't
knows?
know why. But,
Old and infirm.
Old and infirm. I put it down to that. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Next one on my list.
What's your number two, Jake?
Then,
What's your
Dave,
number
is
two?
one of the very few, if any, things that I have in common with successive US presidents from Nixon onwards. And there's this contorted face you pull in there.
Yeah, that's me thinking.
That's your thinking face.
Yeah, I try not to do it if I can.
It's one I've not seen very often.
Because look, this is me thinking.
That's Dave looking very.
See, it's really fucking painful.
It looks painful.
So I try not to do it. I just kind of.
Well, I'll help
along
you out because
like
the one thing that I have, along with Nixon, Reagan onwards, is a great enthusiasm for the war on drugs. But very good, hey? Very good, yes. But unlike American presidents who were talking about trying to stop narcotics flowing into the country, and sometimes not even trying to stop narcotics flowing into the country, just doing a PR exercise. My particular penchant is for Adam Granduciel and his band, the amazing War on Drugs, from Philadelphia, who I think are brilliant band. And unlike a lot of the stuff we choose, it's not left field, out there, experimental avant-garde. It's just pure, honest American rock music, really, and it's fucking brilliant. And the track I've chosen,
it's kind of yacht rocky.
Is it yacht rocky? Is it?
It's a bit throwbacky, isn't it, to kind of smooth sounds of the 70s.
I suppose it could have come from the 70s, yeah.
Which is not. I'm not being disparaging. I mean, I really like War on Drugs. I think they're really good. But yeah, it always has that kind of laid back 70s.
Yeah.
Feel.
It is laid back feeling. Yeah.
Which is cool. And I hope that in a few years' time I'm laid back in my 70s. So. Thank you.
Well, the track I've chosen, I've stuck with Eyes because one of their finest tracks is a track called Red Eyes, from their 2014 album Lost in the Dream. And if you haven't heard that, if you don't listen to anything else, you can't fail to be uplifted and moved by that track. It's absolutely brilliant.
I think I've listened to most of their stuff, so I will have listened to it. I'm not a regular listener,
okay,
I must admit, but I have listened to and enjoyed The War on Drugs. But I don't. That one doesn't ring a bell. But I'll give it a listen later.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not normally the kind of music that I would say that I'm myself a great fan of, but these guys, they just do this type of music so well, that it's definitely well worth hearing. The big, spacious songs, they're great melodies, great arrangements, and it's music for kind of like riding white horses across the vast plains of North America. It's wind in your hair. Well, if you had any hair, since neither of us have any hair now. Wind in your hair. It's wonderful. And they've had a string of wonderful albums from 2011 onwards. And as I say, Red Eyes comes from Lost in the Dream, which is a wonderful thing indeed. That's built around an acoustic guitar strumming around a straightforward 4/4 beat. Keyboards track quite high and they're quite clear throughout, and it's all with electric guitars. And Adam Granduciel, he's playing guitar and he sings, and it's really great. The video is really quite odd because the video has the band as a judging panel in a low rent talent contest. I don't really know how that relates to the lyrics. It's quite weird, quite funny. But the lyrics themselves are a little bit obscure anyway. Every line on its own sounds really meaningful. It's easier to stick to the old, surrounded by the night and you don't give in, but you abuse my faith. All these lines stand alone and you think, yeah, that's meaningful, but you put them all together and I've no idea what the fucking hell they're talking about or what it's meant to mean, because it's all a little bit more obscure. But yes, I don't have an awful lot more to say about it. So it's another quite brief one. There's not a lot that I can say. There's not a lot online. The website's not incredibly informative. They've had 4-5 albums. The last one came out, it was a live album, came out last year, I think, which is fantastic and excellent. Yeah.
They played the O2 not long ago, didn't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember whether they were supporting somebody or whether they actually headlined it. But I remember seeing War on Drugs at the O2 and thinking, oh, I quite fancy going to see them, and then never got round to it. But yeah,
I think they'd be very good live. I would imagine.
yeah. I like I say, I just kind of associate them with a kind of with this 70s chilled kind of soft rock type sound.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. It's not. Yeah, it's not soft rock.
I mean, it's more. It's more of a. Yeah, it's more of a. I mean, it's an updated version of it, but I think I feel like that's where they get their influences.
Maybe
from, and the general feel.
Yeah, maybe so. I couldn't tell you because there's nothing I can find written about them anywhere in my brief foray into internet that would illuminate on what their influences are, where they're coming from. The lyrics don't give an awful lot away for a lot of the songs.
No.
So it's quite a brief, but it's one that had to be on there. It's not as brief as the one that I was going to put on, which I was going to put on just because it's got one of the best names of any track that I know. And it's not by War on Drugs, it's by the Stretch Heads, and it's a track called Housewife Up Your Fucking Arse Music, which I love the name of, and I love the band the Stretch Heads, but it's not one of their better songs, so I didn't put it on.
No, fair enough. I have, I'm pretty sure I have got different body parts for each one. I obviously made much more of an effort than
I made an effort. All 5 of mine, because the first 3 I had were all eye related. So then I made a point of making them all eye related, which was very easy because there are so many great songs that refer to eyes.
Yes, there are. Well, my next one is eye related as well.
Okay.
And my next one is Needles in the Camel's Eye by Brian Eno.
Oh, right. What album is that from?
Yeah. Well, that's from his first album, Here Come the Warm Jets.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's track 1. I mean, not something I bought at the time. I think it was released in '74, just after he'd left.
Roxy.
Just after he left Roxy Music, yeah. And this was pre the ambient, the ambient music that he became, really famous for. Mm-hmm. And this was more of a, not quite a continuation of the of the Roxy Music sound, although it was a glammy pop album, and it had guest appearances by a few of his Roxy Music bandmates, and also had members of Hawkwind, Matching Mould, Pink Fairy, Shark, Sweet Feed, and King Crimson. I imagine that was Fripp, because I know Robert Fripp did a couple of LPs.
No Pussyfooting.
That's right.
Which is quite an interesting one, because that's a double album, and you have the whole thing, and then the other album is the whole thing backwards, which is quite interesting.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I've listened to most of Brian Eno's albums over the years. Specifically, normally the kind of more ambient ones. But I did get this, and the second one, which was, I can't remember what his second album was, something Taking Tiger Mountain by Storm, I think it was. And that's the one with Third Uncle. And the first time I heard the song Third Uncle was when Bauhaus recorded it. They did a cover of it. And that was the B-side of their David Bowie Ziggy Stardust cover. Mm-hmm. And he's great, and as with the Ziggy Stardust cover, doesn't really stray that much from the original, which is interesting, because that's quite a noisy old song,
a bit more energetic perhaps than the
slightly. But this was, I mean, Needles in the Camel's Eye. I remember buying. I bought this on vinyl a few years ago. And I'm purely because I think I found it in a charity shop and it was really cheap, so I bought it. And Needles in the Camel's Eye is a fucking cracking track. Right. It's really good.
I never listened to the first album. I know like you, I've listened to and own a lot of Eno, but I never bothered going back to the first one for some reason.
Well, no, I probably wouldn't have done if I hadn't found it so cheaply. I probably would never have bothered. But I just happened to see it and I thought, I'll give it a bash. Mm-hmm. And I was really quite pleasantly surprised. And let me put my teeth in. I was really quite pleasantly surprised. I can't even talk.
My editing skills are going to come in here.
I've got this. My daughter Lily has given me the worst fucking cold I've had in ages. And it's really, really doing me in. I'm sitting here, I'm absolutely knackered. I'm thinking, I think I'll go to bed when we finish recording this. I don't really get colds very often. In fact, I haven't had a day off sick from work in about 2 years. And when it does get me, I really go, oh fucking hell, I'm near death. I'm going to die. So I think I'll just go take myself to bed.
You're doing very well.
Have a lay in the morning. Thank you.
You're a little trooper.
The other great thing about Brian Eno is his name. Do you know Brian Eno's full name?
I probably do, but I've long forgotten it.
It's Brian Peter George St. John Le Baptiste de la Salle Eno.
No, I didn't know that. No, that wasn't what I was expecting.
Fucking hell. That's a great name, though, isn't it? You know, I'm gonna next time I see my mum, I'm gonna berate her for just giving me like 3 names. It's like, why couldn't I have a St. John in there? St. John Dave St. John La Baptiste de la Salle.
You've got a storm named after you. Brilliant. I don't know what you're moaning about.
Yes, Storm Dave's. That was my impression of Storm Dave. I don't know now.
Heading our way as we record this.
Yes, and this is another impression of Storm Dave. That was the windy bit. I don't know where the growl came from, actually. Storms don't tend to growl.
Not ordinarily.
No, but but anyway, so here come the warm jets. I think he did 2 or 3 LPs along the kind of the glammy poppy style.
He had to get it out of his system.
I think so, yeah. And before, you know, the ambient. What was the first? That was Music for Airports.
Music for Airports, the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he
music for films.
Yeah. Where did
music for sitting on the toilet reading the paper? That was a good
My
one.
Life in the Bush of Ghosts came in quite early on as well with David Byrne from Talking Heads.
Yeah,
where he was sampling away the Jezebel Spirit and so on, which was pretty good.
I liked Music for Looking for Your Keys. I know I put them somewhere. Where the fuck are they? That was a good one. Music for Get Off of Your Fucking Cat. And I could go on.
At least we should be thankful for the fact that you're unlikely to burst into song with any Brian Eno tracks.
Oh yeah, there is although that. I could hum them.
You could hum them, although he did The Ship, which he sings on. Oh yeah, Apollo.
See, you're nodding off already, aren't you? Apollo. I think Apollo is my favourite.
It's a great album.
It is a fantastic album.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is just the ultimate ambient album, isn't it?
I mean, it gets played on TV documentaries and adverts and all kinds. Some of the tracks on there get played an awful lot.
And Ascent gets played every time some fucker dies.
Yeah.
You know, or you're reading a list of people who died. They play that. They did that at the Olympics, didn't they? I think we covered.
We've been there, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
A master for man. Although, as I think I said at the time, I don't rate his singing on The Ship very much. But I guess each to their own.
I don't remember his. I've got The Ship. I can't remember last time I played the fucking thing. Perhaps that's why. Perhaps that's because of his. Has he got quite a deep? I don't remember his voice being that.
It's not that he's got a bad voice. It just doesn't. It's not a great voice. It doesn't work. I think for me,
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Excellent. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Wunderbar.
Well, I did have 5 tracks all referring to eyes, but I decided not to in the end. So my number 3 is a track called Sights of Rapture on the Lungs of God. So we got lungs.
Well, yeah, I worked out which one was the body part. You fucking twat. It's not that tricky.
I don't know why I needed to explain
No,
that.
I don't know
either. Just the look on your face.
Have I got a bit of a dense look?
You did have a slightly...
Is this cold? It's making me look a bit dim.
You did put a slightly slack-jawed face. I thought I better just clarify.
That's usual these days. That's usual. I need to do those. Have you seen those neck exercises you do when you like do a real kind of a rictus grin and everything stands up and that voice is me. Yeah.
Well, what's that supposed to do?
Well, it's supposed to stop you getting those saggy gels.
Wattles?
The bits under your throat.
That's your wattle, isn't it? Your jowls are here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's your gels.
That's your
Yeah,
wattle.
yeah, probably. Wattle?
Wattle.
What, you wattle and daub? Wattle and daub?
Yes, that's what you do when you're painting with it. You wattle and
Yes,
daub.
yeah. Oh right, yeah. So me wattle. So if you do like a big kind of grin, like, you know, just by talking while doing it, I reckon people who are listening could work out exactly what I'm doing. So like, I'm not doing it now. I'm doing it now. So everyone can imagine the contortion my face is doing, and that's supposed to tighten the skin on your wattle.
No, I would have thought that was stretch it, and you get more of a wattle.
No, because it's all to do with the muscles, isn't it, or something? I don't know. I read it somewhere fucking years ago.
What nonsense are
yeah,
you reading?
There's another poll. Have you tried Dave's throat exercise? Did it work, or do you still have a flabby neck?
Anyway, Sights of Rapture on the Lungs of God.
Oh, yes, sorry. I forgot about that.
Truly wonderful track by a gentleman, an Australian artist by the name of Paul Schutz. SCH.
And then leaves. Paul shoots and leaves.
No, SCHUTZE. Schutzer or Schutzer, perhaps.
Paul Schutz.
And
sounds like a fucking porn name or something, doesn't it?
In your mind, undoubtedly. Anyway, he's an Australian who's been composing and creating for 3 decades, although he now lives in London. And it's electronic, contemporary, classical, minimal kind of music. This particular track is 22 minutes long.
Oh, of course it fucking is.
But it is.
Of course
it is
yeah.
totally.
This particular track is 15 years long, and
it's a brilliant, superb, wonderful piece.
Fucking episode. Oh yeah, this is a bit of like.
I do like long tracks. It's just the way it is. But it's a wonderful, long, minimalist electronic piece. It's like a sort of about the war on drugs to some degree, and it's so much space, so much sense of space. But unlike the war on drugs, which is a sense of space in the sound, this is a sense of space in the absence of a lot of sound, really. And it's like, listening to it is like being suspended in zero gravity, and you're just floating in space, and you're just buoyed up by these shimmering waves of sound that kind of float in and float out. It's not a drone, and there is quite a lot of stuff happening, but it's a long way from being cluttered in any way. There are these distant rumbles that ebb and flow, and then metallic glissandos just suddenly cascade in and out. There'll be a bell sound, a steely tone sweeping through, and occasionally patterns emerge very briefly. They skitter, they kind of take fright, and then scatter and dissipate into the ether. But most of it is about what's not happening. I think this heavy sense of space from within the abyss, and it's lovely. It's really fantastic. It's like a pristine soundscape with these little details that come in and go out. It's taken from his 1993 album, The Rapture of Metals, and it's also known as New Maps of Hell 2. But it's nothing like hell. It sounds, well, if it is like hell, I don't mind going there because it sounds quite nice, really. Every second of the album is magnificent, but this track is probably one of my favourites. Schutzer has released dozens of records, I think about 30 albums at the last count, and it's all largely minimalist, avant-garde kind of sounds, but it's not repetitive at all. So when you listen to some of the other records in his catalogue, there are spoken word pieces, there are experimental strings, and more rhythmic electronica. Some of it's quite abrasive in times. I think he's just an experimentalist who likes to push the boundaries, see what he can do, what he can't do, and how it turns out. And he does installations like a lot of these types of artists do, because this music works well with visuals and with kind of spaces in a physical sense as well. The peculiar thing I think that I discovered when having a look at this, which I didn't know, is that like Max Richter, who we talked about on a previous episode, who does himself contemporary classical, minimalist electronica kind of music, Schutzer also, like Richter, has his own branded perfume, which seems to be a contemporary classical minimalist composer type thing. Like Richter, it's also quite expensive because it's 135 quid a bottle, 50ml bottle. But unlike Richter, who only has £100+ bottle of perfume you can buy, he's got a whole range of Schutzer branded perfumes. Yes. And like Richter, each one of his perfumes has a description of the various notes and tones of aroma that's in there. And each of them are there to have been engineered to evoke a certain time and space. So remember with Richter, it was odours of violin and stuff and old piano, amongst other things. Well, Schutzer hasn't got anything like this. It's got a whole lot of stuff that I've never even heard of, which I can only imagine are real substances. But they all have this, and this will sound like this will smell like you've just woken up on a warm evening on a desert island after a tropical storm. I think, will it really? I don't know if it'll really do that. Anyway, Jeebus. I'm now doing my own perfume, my own bottles of aroma. So I think, if it's good for them, it's good enough for me. So I'm doing one that's going to have snake bite soaked into worn carpet with a hint of matured 3-day-old ashtray, a dash of Boots hairspray, a flirt with patchouli oil, and a blessing of old leather with a delicate undertone of vomit. Back bar of the Red Lion March, 1984.
Sounds good. I'd wear it.
I thought you were.
It's ingrained in me.
You can't wash it out. So yes, Paul Schutz is an interesting character.
I'm gonna do one. Call it Curry Aftermath.
No, please spare us that. But Paul Schutz he's not only a guy that works on his own, he formed an improv band, and I know what we think of improv bands. We talked about that last time.
He didn't have a fucking hurdy-gurdy in it,
No hurdy-gurdy, but he did have Jar Wobble and Lol Coxill and Bill Laswell and a bunch of other people. It's kind of like an improv supergroup. Haven't heard anything by them. I haven't been able to find anything by them, but with Jar Wobble in as well as Bill Laswell, it could have been quite interesting. Maybe worth looking out. But certainly this album, The Rapture of Metals from 1993, Paul Schutzer, is certainly one to look for because it's fantastic.
I look forward to listening to it.
I'm assuming it's on Spotify. I haven't checked.
I'll have a look. I'll have a look later. Yeah. It's weird, the perfume thing, isn't it? And there's lots of bands have done beers.
Yes.
I know Mogwai. Yeah. Mogwai did a beer. Motorhead did one called Motorhead Road Crew, which was actually really nice.
Okay.
As was the Iron Maiden, The Trooper.
Okay.
I did also have a beer. I was in a beer club years ago, and they used to send you a box, and I had a pink shiny Ultra Blast.
Whose is that?
They were a Russian shoegaze band.
Oh, were they?
Pink shiny Ultra Blast. Yeah, they were really good actually.
Okay.
And they kind of disappeared. Whether they got sent off to a gulag or something for because Putin doesn't like shoegaze, I don't know. But yeah,
they maybe just gave up the music and got themselves a brewery.
Quite possibly, yeah. But that was really nice, yeah. So I'm sure there was more than that. I know. Didn't Sleaford Mods? They've just had a beer released, haven't they?
I don't know.
I think they have. I'll look that up. Cats have got. That's not my. That's not Curry Aftermath. That is the cats growling at each other in the background. I'm not producing a scent.
Well, fortunately, we're about 120 miles away from each other, so.
Yeah. Oh dear. Fucking hell. I remember having a file once.
Did you?
Yeah. A friend of mine. I was at work and he was eating he'd reheated a file that he'd had the night before, and he said, "Do you want to try some of my file?" And I was like, "Oh, it was a bit hot for me." He said, "It's not that hot. It's actually really quite tasty." So I had a couple of bits, and it was fucking hot.
Yeah.
But it was very, very tasty.
Yeah.
And then I left work that night. I drove over to pop in and see my mum on the way home from work. And as I drove the final part of the journey back to back home, I farted in the in my car. It was that fucking
dear.
bad. I had to open the window. I've never, because you know what it's like if you do a fart, you go, oh, cracking. You know, I mean,
Sorry,
I'm
did
sure
you
there's
say,
an old
cracking? Is that what you're
cracking.
proud
There's
of
an
your
old,
farts?
there was an old Chinese proverb that when every man loves the smell of his own farts.
Is that
But this
Chinese proverb?
No, I made it up. But it's like
know that.
it's a made up thing. It's like, you know, 67% of all facts are made up on the spot. So yeah, so yeah, that was my that was my curry aftermath. Yeah, I had to drive home with the fucking windows open because it was so bad. Yeah. Sorry about that, listeners.
That's right. That's
Probably not the anecdote you wanted to hear, but yeah. So yes. Right, okay. So me now.
It is.
So I've one-upped you as
you?
usual because I have two songs from one artist, both with the same body part.
Different songs or the same
Different
song?
songs, yes.
Okay.
This is Mercury Rev.
Okay.
And from the first album, Your Self-Esteem, Syringe Mouth. And from album number 2, Boses, Snorri Mouth or Snorri Mouth.
I don't think you'd call that
sure.
upping me. I would say that was just cheating.
Yeah, but you know, I like to try and demean you whenever possible.
I don't feel demeaned. I just think, why have you bent the rules? But no matter.
No, so if I had to go for one, I would go for Snorri Mouth. So Mercury Rev. I mean, you know
I know.
Mercury Rev.
Yeah.
So Mercury Rev formed in 1989 in Buffalo, New York. By the main members were Jonathan Donahue and Sean Grasshopper Makoviak, I believe is his name. Is how you pronounce it. And also at that time there was singer was David Baker. They had Suzanne Thorpe, who used to play the flute, and Dave Friedman was the bass player. He went on to be a quite well-known producer, and then Jimmy Chambers on drums. And they kind of formed. I'm pretty sure they formed at the University of Buffalo, and they originally wanted to make soundtracks, and then kind of accidentally turned into this massive noise rock shoegaze band. I think that's probably the best way to describe them at the beginning. Tremendously noisy, and made a couple of fabulous albums. As I said, Your Self-Esteem was album number 1 and Boses was number 2. I have to be honest, I missed Your Self-Esteem completely at the time, and it wasn't until Boses had a song called Something for Joey, and there was a video, and I'm pretty sure it had Ron Jeremy, the old porn star, in the video.
Jeremy,
and
the
somehow,
old porn star.
Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it got shown. They showed a clip of it on the chart show. In one of those, it was one of those ones where you go, "Oh, show the whole thing," and then they never did. But it was enough. It was enough to get me intrigued, and I bought Boses, and it's great. It's a total noise fest, and they're one of those bands just used to throw every fucking thing at the including the kitchen sink, and just made this glorious racket. They actually, I think they played one gig, and then or 2 gigs in America, and then and then the album was released, and they end up supporting My Bloody Valentine on a UK tour. So probably their 4th or 5th gig ever was at the Corn Exchange in Cambridge.
Oh, right.
And I fucking missed it. I've no idea to this day how I missed seeing My Bloody Valentine. I just kind of the fact they were playing didn't quite get through to me, and I completely missed it. Apparently, it was one of the ones where they did about 20-minute noise section.
Yeah, okay.
In towards the end. Yeah, so I was quite good about that. But Snorri Mouth is I think you'll like this. It's about 10 minutes long.
Hey.
And it's great. It's just, the whole LP, like I say, is just superb. I always liked the first two LPs, but the songs with David Baker used to kind of wire me up a bit. I think I could never quite get to grips with his voice. I much preferred when Jonathan Donahue sang.
Oh, right.
But yeah, the history of the band is brilliant. I don't know whether I've been over it before, but they got, I think David Baker left after Bosis. They made one more album, and then they were that fucked with drugs and drink and everything that Grasshopper took himself off and lived in a monastery for about 6 months or something.
Good idea.
Yeah. And then they got back together and released Deserters Songs, which was kind of almost a country rock classic.
Right.
And was completely different to anything they'd done before. I saw them on that tour. They played in Norwich, and Flaming Lips were the support band because Jonathan Donahue had played in the Flaming Lips with Wayne Coyne and the others. Wayne had just written what was the Race for the Prize, the album that was on the Soft Bulletin, and they wanted to try it out, so they got on tour with them, and one of the best gigs I've ever been to. Absolutely phenomenal. And at that time they were still playing some of the older songs from those first two LPs, and they were great. So noisy though, it was so loud. When they did when they did do the louder songs, my God, it was noisy. It was quite fantastic. But yeah, those first two LPs are well worth a listen.
I've never really listened to them. I know of them. I've never really listened to them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were absolutely bonkers, the lot of them. Absolutely bonkers. I mean, you listen to it and it's, I don't know, it's so hard to get a handle on it. I mean, I kind of lump it in with like noise and shoegaze, but there's so much else going on. It's totally like psychedelic, experimental. It's just insane.
Yeah, right.
But well worth a listen.
They've escaped my attention, but maybe I should look at that again.
Yes. I'd give them a go. Give them a go. I think you'd quite enjoy it.
Okay.
Yes.
My number 4. We talk a lot about really loud gigs. Well, you do especially talk about really loud, ear-bleedingly loud gigs. The first time I saw this band is exceptionally quiet. So quiet that Rachel had a bag of peanuts and it was overwhelming the sound of the band, which is a bit disturbing. But the band is Jeebus. Portico Quartet, and the.
Oh, right, that rings a bell.
They ring. I don't know if they had bells, but they do have some metallic percussion.
I warned you about trying to be funny.
A mistake.
I warned you.
But Portico Quartet are a modern jazz electronic instrumental band from London, and the track that I've chosen is one of the Eyes ones that remained. It's a track called Mercury Eyes, and it's from their 2017 album Art in the Age of Automation. And as I was saying, the first time I saw them, they were supporting Penguin Cafe, which again a band I really, really like, but it was very quiet at times, but it was very good, very nice indeed. So they started out busking in the early noughties, sometime around I think 2005, around that time, and alongside some of the conventional instruments like drums, keyboard, bass and sax, they also extensively use an instrument called the hang, or sometimes called a hang drum, but originally called a hang, which is based on a steel pan type instrument from Trinidad and Tobago. And it looks like a big kind of steel clam with a hole in the bottom. A clam or an oyster shell with a hole in the bottom, which was invented by Felix Rona and Sabina Schara in Switzerland in 2000. Nothing to do with Portico Quartet, but they were the people who invented this instrument, which I've never heard, I don't think, in any other music. And sure enough, the production of this particular instrument was discontinued in 2013. So I don't think they were necessarily getting a lot of clientele. But Portico Quartet were nominated for a Mercury Prize in 2008, and they won Time Out's Album of the Year in 2007 in the Jazz and Folk World category. And this particular track, you'll be surprised to know, is a massive 97 seconds long.
What?
Just over a minute and a half.
What?
No,
What?
just for you. There we go.
Well, my flabber is
Your
gasted.
wattle is wattling.
Flipping heck. Next, you'll be picking bloody You Suffer from Napalm Death at 1 second long.
I saw
Bloody hell.
Napalm Death. I think I was the oldest person stage diving at the time. They had a great big baggy jumper on. I just kept getting up on stage and stage diving, and I must have looked ridiculous, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway. Stage diving at a Portico Quartet concert would be bizarre in the utmost, and I think anybody that attempted to do that would first encounter chairs, because I think most of the places they sit down, you sit down at these kind of gigs. So Mercury Eyes, then, from their 8th album on Gondwana Records, and Gondwana Records is also the home to Go Go Penguin, who we've talked about already, and comparisons are possible. They're both instrumental. Electronic jazz, modern jazz combos. They both have a different sound, but similar kind of feel. But this particular track is a little bit different because it isn't really in the vein of much of their catalogue. It's a lovely sounding piece of very ancient sounding music. It's just a very simple, distant sounding Eric Satie-esque piano melody which turns over a few times. There's some unintelligible vocals enmeshed in a kind of hiss of aged tape, and a mournful sax occasionally tries to pierce the moment, drifting upwards and then dissolving away. And underpinning it, there are these subtle electronic tones which just wash in and wash out, barely registered but crucial. And it all comes together in this, as I say, this foggy, ancient sounding piece of quite simple music, but it really is very, very nice indeed. I could have listened to it, which probably won't be a great surprise, for a lot longer than 97 seconds. It seems to be, you feel cheated at having finished so soon. But having said that, it does work almost as a very nice intro to the last track on the album, a track called Lines Glow, which is a very different sonic structure entirely. There's an electronic arpeggio, drums, bass, the whole works. So it's a very different sounding piece of music. But you put the two together and the first sounds like it could be kind of like a contemplative quiet before the urgency of action and the noise of the last track, almost like a sequence of preparation. And it's really nice. The combination's really nice, but the track on its own is really nice. I wouldn't say Portico Quartet are one of my standout favourite bands of all time. I do have 3 or 4 of their records and I'm happy to play them and so on. And they do some really nice music, some very fine music. This track particularly so, but they're definitely worth listening to, and I put them on for that reason. I think one of the strangest record reviews I had of one of my records was a reviewer said that at times my music sounded like Portico Quartet. I've never heard anything so stupid in all my life.
Have you been using your hand?
My hang glider. I've never heard any. I even went back to the record Concerned and thought, what on earth was this guy thinking of that it sounds like Portico Quartet? But anyway, people hear different things, and that's fine. Again, I've not checked if this is on Spotify. I would assume it is, because Portico Quartet are not. They're not an underground band.
I'm pretty sure no. I can see where when I do the Instagram videos, I'm forever. I'll be honest. I kind of don't know why I do them, because I'm terrible I'm terrible at communicating what I think the band sounds like. And I do tend to make I've done it before. I've made comparisons with other bands, and then afterwards, I kind of think, does it sound like that? I think it's a kind of spur of the moment thing where I'm kind of writing up just a couple of things to say about some band. I mean, I'm trying to make them shorter and shorter as we go along and put in a bit less. But yeah, but I can totally understand why someone might think you sound like the Portico.
You can understand that.
It's just that. Well, no, I can understand why they would say that, but you might go, "What are you fucking talking about?" Because I'm pretty sure I've done it, and I'm pretty sure that there are bands out there thinking, "What's this twat about? We don't sound anything like that." But to my ears, I think it is. It's, and I do find quite often I'm forced to make a comparison just to try and get that idea of what it sounds like over to people.
Yes, you've got to open the door a little bit, haven't you, and try.
It's so much easier said than done as well. It really is, and I've got a whole new respect for people who review records since I've been attempting to do it, and I do tend to cut things out and try. If I can get away with not comparing it, then I won't. Because I'm well aware that I could myself go back to it in a couple of weeks and go, what the fucking hell was I talking about?
It can work both ways, can't it? Because if you make a comparison and a listener has heard the band that heard that comparator band, but not the one you're talking about, and they don't like the comparator band, then they might close them to the band that you're trying to... But it could work the other way.
And then you think, I was this week. I did. There's a girl, American girl who records under the name of Snail Mail, and she's and I really really like her. But her new LP sounds to me like a summer record. It just makes me think of the sun on my face, and it's the kind of thing you play when you're sitting out, doing a barbecue. You'd stick it on, but it also sounded a lot like another female artist called Biba Doobie. And I nearly said, it sounds, it's very much in that Biba Doobie's realm. And then I thought, well, does it, or does Biba Doobie sound like Snail Mail? So I had to miss that out because I didn't want to. I'm very conscious of offending a band's fans or the sometimes the person themselves might see it, and you think, oh God, So yeah, tricky.
It is tricky. Who sounds like Tricky? Massive Attack. They sound like Tricky.
Very good. Yeah. Well, yeah, but
I don't care who it gets compared to. I mean, if somebody's listened and taken the time to think about it and put pen to paper, fantastic. It's surprising though sometimes.
I love that album of yours that sounded like Lulu. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Lulu on the Lulu.
Yeah, music for reading the paper on the toilet.
Okay, cool. So we haven't got an awful lot more to say about that, but well worth listening. I hope that particular track is on Spotify because it is nice. It's different to what they normally do. I'd just say that.
Yes, awesome. Okie dokes. Right, okay. Well, my final track is a track called "Never Trust a Man" with egg on his face.
That sounds familiar.
And that's by Adam and the Ants.
Oh, that's, oh God.
But this is
This Dirk Wear White Socks era.
Adam and the Ants. And this is, Dirk Wears White Socks. And it's a weird... Adam and the Ants are one of those weird bands where, there's lots of stuff. Well, I like most of what they did. But I remember when Dirk Wears White Socks came out and buying it and taking it home and playing it and going, what the fucking hell is this? It just was completely not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was expecting because I had no idea of what Adam and the Ants sound like, other than Adam was one of the earlier punks. He was in a band called Bazooka Joe, who the Sex Pistols supported at a gig back in 76, I think. And he promptly split up Bazooka Joe and formed Adam and the Ants. And he got into this real image, all based around fetish, BDSM, rubber lingerie, kind of, and all these old cartoons of bound, bondage, and it was all very, very weird. Or not weird. It was all very, very out there. It was kind of what fitted in with punk, but at the same time was a bit kind of way out there. And the original band was Adam, was Matthew Ashman, Dave Barbarossa, and I think Lee Gorman. He'd replaced a guy called Andy Warren, who'd joined the previous guitarist Lester Square in the Monochrome set. And I think and then later on after this album, obviously, I don't know, for people who don't know, Malcolm McLaren became the manager, promptly sacked Adam, took the whole band off and formed Bow Wow Wow with Annabella, who was at the time 15 and he'd bumped into in a laundrette singing, and that was how Bow Wow Wow came on with that Burundi beat that Adam then took on with Adam and the Ants when he got in touch with Marco Perroni, who had formerly been in Rima Rima. It's all very
what a tangled web.
Oh God, yeah, I can't remember. I mean, some of it I've got written down. I'd forgotten about the rest. So it's weird how you remember all this shit. But then Adam and the Ants went off to do the
Kings of the Wild Frontier and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and pop stardom.
Well,
But going back to Dirk Wears White Socks, a really, really odd album.
It was very jarring.
And it wasn't really until I think a long, long while after, probably they re-released Dirk Wears White Socks for Record Store Day.
Oh, right.
On white vinyl with lots of inserts. And I was knocking around in a record shop after Record Store Day and found it. They'd reduced a load of stock. And I bought a copy, and thought I'll give it another bash and see. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Really?
That difference of, only took me like 40 odd years or something. And I really like it. I kind of appreciate it now, and I see what he was doing. I think what at that time we were into the Damned and the Pistols and the Clash, and I expected a punk album, and it wasn't a punk album, although it was in retrospect. But it wasn't musically. It didn't sound like a punk album. And Never Trust a Man with Egg on His Face is quite bonkers. I think it's about a woman who's hearing voices and shoots her husband because aliens have told her that she should never trust a man with egg on his face. Something along those lines, anyway. But the whole, I really, really enjoy that Adam and the Ants. The history, I think it's all quite fascinating, and like you say, it's a very tangled web because, like I say, Bow Wow Wow and Adam and the Ants both sounded similar but different. On that second incarnation of Adam and the Ants, they got the drummers, the thunderous Burundi beat. Bow Wow Wow went off kind of more of a, I think they pushed it to there with also they had some kind of quite African sounding guitar work in there as well
at times.
I thought Bow Wow Wow were fantastic. I really liked Bow Wow Wow.
They're still together in some form or another because they played
I think it's
not long ago in Nottingham.
I know Annabella's still part of it. Matthew Ashman died. He was a cracking guitarist. He died a few years ago. I don't know whether the other two are still around or not, to be perfectly honest. Adam and the Ants, and then as we said, they went on to the Kings of the Wild Frontier and Prince Charming,
awful,
which is
awful.
I know, but it was all very silly. It was all a lot of fun. I think it was all very tongue in cheek.
He was having a great time. He was having a fantastic time.
That was what redeemed it. Yeah. That was what made it made it, you know, kept it fun. Prince Charming, stand and deliver
Terrible.
high money all your life.
I was so disappointed with when that direction all happened, because there was nothing after Kings of the Wild Frontier that was remotely interesting or remotely good.
Well, even around, Kings of the Wild Frontier was superb.
Yeah.
And Dog Eat Dog.
Yeah.
And music even.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, from Prince Charming onwards, it kind of did go a bit downhill.
So you
I
liked
think.
Prince Charming?
I tolerated Prince Charming because I enjoyed I could see it for what it was. I could see the humour in it. I could see what he was doing. I think that was what was most redemptive about it. You know, it was almost kind of you know, celebrating that that kind of English sense of pantomime, really.
Well, he had Diana Dawes in the video, didn't he?
Yeah, she was the fairy godmother or something, wasn't she? There was lots of that, and I think he knew what he was doing. He's a very sharp bloke, Adam. I mean, he's still touring now.
Oh, he is, yeah.
I mean, he must be getting on 70 now.
He's been self-institutionalised at least once.
Yes, he's had some tremendous mental health
challenges.
problems. Yeah, over the years, but yeah, Adam and the Ants.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I like Adam and the Ants. I haven't seen them. I haven't been to see him on the reunion tour. I've always been put off by the price of the bloody tickets, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay.
It has been rather expensive, so I haven't bothered.
But they can still pull them in, though, can't he? That's the thing, because he was.
He sells out the Corn Exchange every time he plays. The gigs sell out.
Yeah, completely.
And so, you know, fair play to him. I've nothing against Adam.
Okay.
Adamant.
Stuart Goddard,
old 60s,
isn't it?
It was an old 60s TV show, wasn't it? Adam Adamant.
I don't know.
I think he was a like a 18th century fop who woke up who got kind of suspended animation and woke up a bit like, I think it might have been the basis for
Quantum Leap or
Austin Powers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. I think he'd. I could be thinking of a completely different. Now I've said it out loud, I could be thinking of a completely different. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point. I'll double check that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll stop talking about it in that case before I make a bigger twat of myself.
Okay, I shall move on then to my final pick for body parts, and it's a track called "How to Get Ahead," but it isn't the one word "ahead." It isn't. It is very clearly "How to Get Ahead."
Right.
And it is by The Residents, so you would expect it to be of that nature. And this is from the 1998 album Wormwood, which is a fabulous album. It's a collection based on the Bible as being the big bad book as opposed to the good book, and it's highlighting the wormwood side of the Bible, it being filled with child sacrifice, incestuous rape and genocide. So it is very much of The Residents' very left field take on music, style, society, culture, everything. And it is a statement. It's a statement of sorts, indicating the proliferation of spiritually bankrupt churches everywhere, which I think deeply offended the residents at the time of writing. So Wormwood is the book of Revelation. In the book of Revelations is the star or angel that falls to earth and causes immense destruction, principally by turning most of the water bitter. And many interpretations of what this passage in the Bible signifies is about the bitterness of the water and the end of times. The interesting thing is that the wormwood plant, which is Artemisia vulgus, in Latin, see that?
Bless you.
It's fantastic. In the Ukrainian language, translates as Chernobyl, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Poisoning of the water and all of that. Anyway, enough of that.
I'm stroking my chin like mad in contemplation of that.
Fascination.
Yes.
Anyway, I don't know if there are any listeners that don't know of The Residents or haven't heard of The Residents. I think it would be
Many, I would imagine. Many.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, they're not a famous band, but for people, I think, like us who have been actively engaged in music for several decades, many decades, it's hard to think that people don't know who The Residents are. But The Residents, they are an unusual bunch of people, really. My kids were big fans for a while because the DVD Icky Flicks, which I had, they used to love watching it, and it's bizarro stuff indeed. I mean, this track ahead. This is the story of a young girl passing from the innocence of youth into a world in which she is objectified, ogled and lusted after. And it's
the usual then.
Yes, it is in the whole theme of Wormwood the album. There's an explicit Bible reference, and it's Mark 6 verses 17 to 29, which is the account of the execution and ultimate beheading of John the Baptist by Herod, because Herod's daughter had danced so well at Herod's birthday party that he offered her the gift of anything she wanted. And she spoke with her mother, Herodias, and ended up demanding that John's head was brought on a platter. And it's taken as a commentary of something about the gesture of a woman seeking to behead the male political authority over the female body, which is a bit weird.
Yes.
So
deep.
Deep. The second time I saw The Residents was on the Wormwood tour, and it was really, really theatrical. It wasn't like a concert, a music concert at all. It was all shot in these bright, garish colours, and each of the songs was an act. Each of the songs was supported by its own weird and wonderful stage props and its own weird and wonderful lighting and sets. It was a really curious experience. The Residents were like that all along. They've been together for something like 50 years, 60 years. Been around since 1965. They formed in the United States. Yeah. And it's almost certain that, well, some of the band, if not all of them, are dead, but they carry on. But nobody really knows, because the Residents maintained their anonymity throughout their career, most famously by concealing themselves on stage or in any pictures by all manner of curious masks, the most well-known being huge head-encapsulating eyeballs, often wearing top hats. But they tend to be very, very secretive about what they do. They speak through their record label. What's it called? The crypto... I can't remember what it's called now.
The Cryptic Corporation.
That's it, Cryptic Corporation. He says he's looking it up very, very...
I just happened to have it on there, yeah.
And
just so I could help you out, because I know you're old and infirm.
I'm old and infernal. Old and infernal.
It's warmer out though. Why would you need to be in thermals?
Oh God!
Fucking hell! I think we should rename this. Dave and Jake's pre-dementia fucking decline show.
I think today we've both got colds and we're both a bit tired and exasperated. So
we'll have to call it music is none of our
mucus.
What's the word?
Mucus.
Dear.
So yes, so the music is electronic. It's not necessary. It's not aggressive or noisy, but at the same time, it's not easy listening. It is disturbing.
No.
It is disturbing music. Sometimes it works really, really well. There's a track, Burn Baby Burn on Wormwood, which is superb. And, they've done loads of fantastic, really good tracks. But a lot of their music is performance, it's art, it's very avant-garde. And that's what they are. They're more a performance entity than a band.
Yeah.
In 2021, I think they released the Ultimate Box Set, which included every release they'd ever done, which was over 60 albums, plus all their singles, all their EPs, all their CD-ROMs and flash drives. And
is that the one that was a fridge?
all inside a giant American fridge, together with some of their toys, their books, one of the big eyeballs that enclosed their heads. And there's a copy of this box set on permanent display in New York's Museum of Modern Art. If you wanted to buy one, and some of them did sell, they were $1 million for the whole set. They are gods of performance art. So if you haven't heard them, it's difficult to know where to jump in, really. Wormwood is a great album. But as I say, there's 60 albums, and we'll put something on the playlist to give you a taster.
I think the first one I bought was Duck Stab.
Duck Stab is brilliant.
And I bought that from Keith's.
Yeah.
Because Keith had a copy he had a cheap box, and it was in there. And I just really liked the look of it.
It's got an interesting cover, hasn't it? That red.
And was like, what the fuck, But unlike Adam and the Ants, it did kind of resonate with me, and I did quite enjoy it. And I wasn't sure why, and I still don't think to this day I'm sure why I like The Residents.
No.
Because some of it's really fucking tough. I remember I bought the commercial album as well, which I think was 60 1-minute songs.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed. I really liked that. And then odd ones. I always liked Core Liga.
Core Liga is a brilliant track.
The single.
Yeah, it's a great track.
Core Liga. Or something. It went like that, didn't it?
Funny enough, the track through Hello Skinny from Duck Stab was fantastically covered by Terminal Cheesecake on their Angels and Pigtails album. So if you're familiar with Hello Skinny, which is a very good track, try the Terminal Cheesecake version and see what they do when they rip it apart with guitars and that. It's great.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah,
I've
listened to quite a lot of Residents over the years. I'm not a massive fan, I've got to be honest. It's not something I'd go back to regularly, but every now and again I'll think I'll play some Residents, and I'll pick something and just give it a listen. And I either kind of get 10 minutes in and go, fuck this, or listen to the whole thing and just go on a bit of a journey with the Residents for a few hours. There's some great stuff.
They're very interesting. They're great live. I mean,
I never saw them live, I have to be honest.
I saw them on their 30th anniversary tour was in 1986. So I saw them there, and I can remember it being very weird. I can remember there being lots of inflatable flamingos, but the Wormwood tour was on that as well. As I say, that was very dark, and I think the thing that runs through all of their music, however it sounds, is kind of an eerie, creepy kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y kind of feel to it. You think the people who are making this music are psychopaths, which is probably grossly unfair, but that's the kind of darkness that seems to permeate all of the work that they've done.
It is some very, very strange music, worth dipping into, and just seeing if you like it or not. But it's they are very good. Yeah.
So there we go.
Excellent. Good choice.
Interesting bunch of very different pieces of music again from us.
Yes, absolutely. I think we did well there.
It's nice to mix it up. Nice to mix it up.
Yes, indeed. So the question now is, what have you been listening to this week, Jake?
This week, amongst the various things that I've been listening to, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark second album, Organisation from 1980. I do very much like that.
Is that the one with Enola Gay?
Yes.
Should have stayed at home yesterday.
Any excuse to sing.
That's things to do. Fucking great. I had that in my head. I was singing it the other day. I can't remember. popped up on the Enola Gay popped up on something.
It's good. There were some better tracks on the album, like Stand Low and Motion of Hearts. Great album.
Totally, yeah.
Also been listening to Pax Britannica. We've talked about Test Department before. This is from 1991. Pax Britannica is a truly monumental album, and you got to hear some of that. Also been listening to Live in Paris, which is the Master Musicians of Jujuka from 2023, which is fantastically trancey kind of stuff. Also, an album by Ricardo Donoso from 2014 called As Iron Shapes Iron, One Verse Sharpens Another, which is a triple album of wonderful electronic twiggly stuff. And then from 1998, Moon Safari from Air, and I do like Air.
It's one of my favourite LPs.
It's great. So it's proper spring summer music. That it's lovely.
I had my girls convinced at one point that Sexy Boy was actually called Sexy Dave and was written about me. They were very young. At the time. And I used to say, listen, and I'd go, Sexy Dave. See? And they'd be like, oh. I don't even fucking believe me.
I don't think so, no.
It was a good trick.
So what about you then?
This week, Jake, I have been listening to Angine de Poitrine, who are bonkers band from Canada, have been all over the internet. They wear these paper mache masks with big proboscis noses, one sticky outy, one floppy. They
two
play.
Noses
There's
on
a
the
drummer.
mask?
No, there's two people.
No,
one nose each.
Okay, watcha.
All on these. It's all polka dot. They play. There's a drummer, and the other one plays a double neck guitar. Plays a bass line or a guitar line, loops it with their toes.
Oh, right.
They've got very dexterous toes and do these loops. And it's kind of this. It's bonkers.
Okay.
It's bonkers. That's right up your street. I also discovered an album called Honora by Flea from
Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I don't like Red Hot Chili Peppers at all.
Great live.
I really don't
I
like.
don't like
I don't care.
I don't like the records.
I do not like.
I don't like the records.
I imagine they are
Great
really
live.
good. I've just something about them. But Honora by Flea is almost an ambient jazz album, and also has Nick Cave doing a cover of Wichita Lineman.
Is this the one where Flea's taken back up his trumpet? Yes, this is his new one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant.
He loves
absolutely
his trumpet.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I've also been listening to Dark Magus by Miles Davis.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes, I listened to a band called Cancer House, who have an album or mini LP, I think it is, called The Moth, which is kind of slowcore type. It's weird. It's very melancholy, very. Yeah, worth a listen. And also the aforementioned Snail Mail,
Oh, right.
her new album Ricochet, which I really, really like.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll get a track from each of those on the playlist.
Yes, I did actually do the last episode that we put out, which was the one that wasn't late. I actually forgot to do the second playlist.
Oh,
I never
you
got round to
dummy.
it. So I know, it's silly of me. So yeah. So I got to have to say hello as ever to greatest playlist ever, the second best music, podcast out there. DJ Substance, Brooklyn Pete, and Robin the Girl Wonder. Robin
Has she taken that
actually, well, I listened to the latest one and she liked the sound of the Girl Wonder. And so she may have taken up Robin the Girl Wonder. I thought it was really good.
It works as good as anything, yeah.
Yeah, why not? But they are very good, well worth a listen. You get to vote on songs. I can't remember what I voted for on the last one. Might have been the National. I can't remember. I hope I'm not giving it away. No spoilers, actually. But yes, very good podcast. And they're all always very, very, very complimentary about us as well.
Goodness.
So,
Thank you.
Yes. Well, mainly me. No, they do seem to find us amusing, even though they freely admit they don't get a lot of the British references.
No, I guess not. That's
which is understandable. Yeah. Well, we don't get most of them. I think we sit there afterwards, go, what the fuck were we talking about?
Making them up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh dear.
Yes, so I've got. I'm going. I don't know when we do the next episode, but I'm going to see Lando Hecht next Friday in Cambridge. Formerly of Muncie Girls, very good. She's done a really good album this year, so I'm off to see her. I think that's about it. Did manage to get a ticket. Oh, Superchunk are touring soon, so I managed to get a ticket for Superchunk. Even though I can't afford it, I'm kind of stretching my overdraft to the max, because I keep going, oh fucking hell, I've got to get that.
You do go to a lot of
God.
gigs, but you know, life is to be lived, as they say.
Yes, absolutely. There are some I have cut down quite considerably this year. I really have, but there are some that you can't miss out. And Superchunk are one of those bands where you just need to go and see them. It's very life affirming. They're one of my favourite bands. They're one of those bands. I think I've said it before. You know, as long as they exist, the world's a good place.
Yeah, you've talked about them before. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a big fan. So
okay, well, we're running out of time.
yes. Okie dokes. Well, let's wrap it up and say goodbye, fair listeners, and we'll see you, fair listeners. What the fuck am I like? Goodbye, you fuckers. We'll see you.
Give up. Bye bye.